What's up, guys? Welcome back. Continuing on with this restoration process we've been doing on the channel. We're going to dig into this 1960 Fender Jazzmaster. I purchased this guitar along with the 57 Strat we just finished up. Not from the same person, but at the same time. And I want to open this up. I want to see what we need to bring this back to original working components. Some stuff I'm not gonna put back to original, and I'll explain why. But yeah, let's just start digging in this thing and check out an old guitar. There's things I want to do. I want to expose the body date if I can. And I want to just get some pot codes and check the values on them, because some of these came with 1 meg. Some of these came with 250K. So I just want to check it out. I want to look at the pickups, see what we're working with. In the middle position, the guitar is out of phase, so I'm almost suspect that one of these pickups are not like the other. So let's just dig in and check it out. Have some fun checking out this 1960 Fender Jazzmaster. All right, so I guess the first thing we can really do to get started is we'll pop the neck off, we'll give that the once over, and then we'll just have the body out on the table to work on. So I'll use a screwdriver. I know some of you guys have commented about using the drill, and you know, gasp, I've used a drill, but I'll use a screwdriver, keep everybody happy, and we'll get this neck off. Always when doing this too, you know, loosen them equally, you know, in a cross pattern. You don't want to stress everything or anything and leave it tight to one side. So just get them all equally loose so you're not binding up on one corner. If the neck is under tension or the truss rod is set a certain way, you don't want to promote any kind of twistage. Just checking the serial number here on the neck plate. It does put it in a 1960 era, so that's good. Some of the concern when buying you know, a guitar that's painted or what, you don't really know what you're getting. And that's why I wanna expose the body date and see how it corresponds with the neck date. See what the neck date is, even if there is a neck date. Now, in late or mid 59 to early 60, you'll be hard pressed to find a pencil date on the neck. There's some folklore that the builders, Leo took the builders' pencils away because they were writing curse words on the heels of the neck. But very common for Jazzmasters to find a little shim here, usually sandpaper. They did that to get the neck, try to get the neck angle a little better, and we'll talk about that. So right away looking, I can tell you that the tuners are swapped, just using an aftermarket Kluson style. Bolt in the same way, and they have the same shape and function. They're just not vintage. I can tell that right away. Can also tell you, yeah, we have a decal that's been swapped over as well. You can see that. You can clearly see that decal has been laid on top there. Not laid on in the best way, but we know it's there, so we're keeping it honest. And the string tree would have had a metal spacer underneath, and this one has a plastic one. So that was also added. But a beautiful piece of Brazilian rosewood. It is a slab. Many of you guys may know this, but you can notate the difference between a slab or a laminate board. Laminate being late 62 and onward. The slab, usually you'll see a curved piece here, and also that huge slab there. The truss rod will intercept it, and the maple necks were cut flat, and then the slab was glued on top, where the laminate was radius to the curve of the board. And we have, boom, neck date. I'm very familiar with this 59 and 60 neck shape, and I know what I'm feeling. No washers in there, that's a good sign. They didn't have to promote adjustment. And the truss rod and nut do function properly. I'll just load the truss rod slightly. This guitar is going to get a refret. These frets are extremely low, and I do think these are the original frets. So we will refret this bad boy. Look at those beautiful clay dots. But we're going to put some 6105s in here, Jescar non-stainless. And it'll probably get a new bone nut. This is a plastic one here, but it'll get a bone nut when that time comes. So there you go. There's the neck. One other thing I want to mention. I've had quite a few 59 Strats. If you guys have been a fan of the channel, you know I'm in love with 59 Strats. This is the first time I've seen a flamed 59 Strat neck or 60 Strat neck. I say 59 because it has a shape that is like no other. Really, really slim and has a great taper. But yeah, check out that flame in there. It's really wild. We can break out our black light and see that this guy is original finish, which is cool. And yeah, we still have lacquer on the edges of the fingerboard, or what is left of it, so yep. So what you heard in the background too while I was looking at the neck was the string bushings that go into the face of the headstock. A couple of them fell out. You know, odds are the tuners were swapped over, so some funky business was going on there. I don't see any additional holes drilled into the neck for other tuners. Maybe those holes were oversized at some point, but that's something I can take care of, and it's a really easy fix, and when it comes time to it, I'll show you guys what to do. So we are going to dive into the body now. First thing I want to do is get the pick guard off. This pick guard has shrunk considerably, so I kind of want to be smart in my approach. I'm going to have it off for a minute. So we're going to get that set aside and get it out safe as fast as we can. We'll get all the screws out. You got some screws kind of leaning over here because that pick guard is really shrinking and pulling. But we'll get that attacked and we'll see what we have underneath. I don't think I'm going to refinish this guitar due to the simple fact that, you know, it's just meant to have some different tones. And also, if you notice, the guitar is 420 friendly, and it's just a different look. It's something wild. As I'm unscrewing this, I can tell that it looks like we have two original pickup screws, the screws that hold the pickups into the body, and it looks like we have 6 swapped ones for newer ones. They did use the right screw though, it looks like, so that's a plus. They didn't try to put something larger in there and blow it out. So whoever did that, thank you, I'm grateful. The guard shrunk so much that the pickup cover screws are holding the guard down, so we'll get that one out as well. Let's see if we can massage this one up. All right. And okay, we'll take the pickup out. The possibility of the body date being preserved in this, I'm going to say slim to none. And here's why. You can relate it a lot to prep work. And if you look at the prep work involved, sometimes you can say, okay, this guy knew what they were doing. They were taking care of it. There doesn't seem to be too much prep work on this paint job here with this Jazzmaster. If it is preserved, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But we're going to get these other pickups out. We'll try to get some readings off of them. Okay, so I can see different material wire coming off this bridge pickup here. I'm not trying to hide it from you guys. I'm just trying to, I got to hold the pick guard in this angle. So let me get this off and we'll see what we're working with. All right, so I was kind of on point there with, some of that stuff is really cool. I was kind of on point there with the pickup. I had this real cool out of phase type sound when both pickups were selected, and there you are. There's your answer right there. We'll get the multimeter out. I haven't really done a ton of Jazzmaster work or research them a lot, so if anybody wants to chime in on what's a normal reading for a Jazzmaster pickup, this one is 3.9. This one comes in at 4K, and this one here 4K as well. So either I have two bad pickups or that's what they read. Could be a good sign, could be a good start. Other than that, looking at the switch, the old Switchcraft switch is there in working condition. Really cool to see all of this old masking tape here. I think that's really sweet. And it looks like we have The original thumb wheel pots. So all of this looks original. Even, check this out. This is great for you Fender geeks. So you'll find a lot in the pre-CBS pick guards on these shields. Mel was on there. I just say Mel because it looks like M-E-L-L. I could be wrong. Probably am. It's a 1 meg on the tone and a 1 meg on the volume. This pot is original. This one CTS pot here, it must be original unless it was swapped out for another 59 pot, but the date is the 52nd week of 59. So that's really, really cool. All right, let's try to get at this. I'd like to pull this all out one shot if I could. All right, as I suspected, they did paint over the cavity, which is not entirely the end of the world. I'd just really like to get this lifted up if I could. You want to go careful and take your time, because if you bend it and warp it, it has enough. The odds are of you getting it back to how it sat in there, flat, is highly unlikely. So we'll place all this down. All right. Looks like we've had some toothpicks put in there at some point to hold the pick guard down. A couple of things I am seeing is some original, it looks like burst there, which is cool. I do know, I can tell you it is an old body. There are router marks everywhere, and you know, I can tell. We're going to maybe just go with a razor blade and see what we can do here. If I recall correctly, the date was usually in the bridge pickup on the Jazzmaster. Let me consult the internet. It knows everything. We'll keep doing a little digging. Should be here. If not, we'll head over to the neck pickup. No luck there. So I don't know. Do you? You know what? I'm not going to be happy until I at least try the neck pickup route. Not seeing anything there, which is really weird. This looks really weird, and I don't want to cut the camera because I know that some people will think there's some trickery going on, and on this channel there's none of that. That's clearly a 6 and a 0. And I know this has been quite thrilling sitting through, but let me just keep cleaning this off so I can get that as clear as possible. Okay, I'm going to try to hold this up without spilling all the dust, but can you guys see that? So this would be the 6 and the 0 right there. I figured above it there would be a month. But some of the clues now, this is where you have to almost let your brain take over. This brown that they used is really indicative to 5960, okay? We have all of our router marks. What the wood would do, the rippling of the wood, there are certain little funky patterns in the wood of these old Fenders. And definitely has it. I personally have never, well, I mean, I've personally never seen a date like that And I don't want to scratch too much. Wait a minute, there's another number here. Alright, I see it. I got it. How can I do this without getting the dust everywhere? Let me see if the black light helps. So there's your 6 and your 0. Right about there. Is a dash. And then there's a 2. Let me work on trying to get that exposed. The 2 is... Now that I've gotten this far, I'm going to try to wipe this down with some acetone and maybe get it to pop so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so I just got this thing out in the natural sunlight, blew the dust off it, and I think this is a little bit better. You can see the 2 starting here, once my fat finger gets out of there. You can see the dash here, and you can see the 60. There you go. So super confident now that this is a 1960 body, and I'm really happy I found the body date because I like that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Smoke them if you got them. All right, so maybe there was a little bit of self-gratification there. I really wanted to get the body date exposed, and I did, and I'm happy. Like I said, you know, I wanted to see if there was anything in the electronics that I needed to swap over or put back to original. Both pickups are working, and both pickups sound great, and they do that cool out-of-phase thing because, you know, obviously the 5960 pickup was wound north polarity, and then the later gray bobbin style was south wound. So that's the out of phase sound you're getting when they're put together. I just wiped this down to get some of that dust out of it. We do have a body date exposed. Super happy about that again. I'm gonna try to fit the electronics all back in there. Clean up these razor blades because there's about 1,000 of them. What a chore that was to get that body date. So I'm going to fit the electronics and the grounding shields all back in. Carefully get the pick guard back on. And then we're going to talk about this bridge over here because it does not look like the original and it definitely isn't. But it will come in handy and I'll discuss that right now. So all I'm really trying to do here is just get the file as square as possible. And just take off the least amount of material needed to get that thing to sit in there. Another thing you could do is pull the pick guard off, screw it to a piece of wood to stop it from shrinking even more, and then just get yourself a good aged aftermarket guard. Now, like I said too, I am not I've always wanted a Jazzmaster, but I didn't really get into them until recently. So if there's some Jazzmaster heads out there and you guys can, like, some things I would want to know are what are some, you know, electronic mods you can do, and also is there a company out there making really good, you know, reissue pick guards. I think this tortoise looks really, really great. But I wouldn't be opposed to putting a repro guard on here and getting all of my pickup adjustability. As long as it looks the part. You didn't want it to stick out like a sore thumb. And also, you Jazzmaster guys, let me know if those pickup readings seem right to you. Nothing seems out of order. Whew, that thing's in there snug. Again, I think something I will do is put a different guard on. Just screw that one flat to a piece of wood, sandwich it in there, let it stay. Because, you know, if you look at the design of the Jazzmaster, if you're binding on the the pickup covers, they can't really, they won't respond to adjustment because they're just being pinched where they are, so you're not getting full use of the guitar. Okay, we get the guard screwed back on. Everything's back. So if you remember the unboxing of this guitar, the original broken tailpiece was in the case. But it came with this Mastery tailpiece, but it also came with the original bridge. From reading up on the original bridges, they rock inside these holes here. And also they can sitar at times, and the strings have such a small groove to ride in that when you're playing, if you play hard with your right hand, the strings will just move all around and pop and ping and kind of send the guitar out of tune. I was looking for a replacement, and I said, well, why don't I just go with the Mastery bridge, because I already have the Mastery tailpiece. So I hit the reverb, and sure enough, I saw this Mastery M1 vintage spec bridge. And I looked at the name of the seller, and I knew the guy. He's Worn Frets on Instagram. He also is a Jazzmaster nut, killer player in the East Coast area. And we just worked a deal out where I could get this, and he, super helpful guy. He was happy to see it go to a good project guitar, and we now have a complete bridge assembly. I can retain the original stuff and put that in the case. It's not gonna decrease the value. If I ever wanted to swap it over, I can. The only thing that was broken in the original Jazzmaster tailpiece is the whammy bar clasp, so I can fix that at a later time. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about functionality and getting the guitar to play right. That's why I'm not afraid to put this bridge on. I'm not afraid to put a better reproduction pick guard so these pickups can move the way they want to. And obviously, I'm not bothered by refretting this neck because it's just gonna promote better playability. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, that was a little bit of fun. We were able to do some archaeology inside this 1960 Jazzmaster. We found the neck date, we exposed the body date, which was a bit of a chore, a lot of razor blades, a lot of scraping, but we did validate that the body is a 1960 as well. No issue with it being a February body and a July neck. Fender, if you start looking at body dates, they did that a lot because they built this stuff in batches, so they would just grab a body off a stack, grab a neck from a stack, and assemble a guitar. The pots are both dated to 59, which is nice. And yeah, we basically need to refret this neck. We're going to do a bone nut. We're going to address a couple of the loose tuner ferrules here. Not a big deal. We're going to get this Mastery bridge installed. And we're also going to swap over to a reproduction nitrate tortoise guard for this guitar because this one is shrinking really bad, and I don't want to compromise the pickup adjustment or its functionality anymore. So those are some things we're gonna do in future videos. From you guys, you can really help me. Message me some links down below in the comments of companies that are making really accurate reproduction pick guards. And if anybody has any tone mods out there or potentiometer mods, I know some guys like to switch to the 250K pots on these. Give me an explanation of what it will do, and maybe a link to something I can read on, some kind of literature I can educate myself before I dive into it. But there you go, guys. We checked out a pre-CBS Jazzmaster. We dug into it. We found the ins and the outs. We set ourselves up with another project for down the road. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Peace.